Shalom. Giving all praise to Yahweh. This is the true name of the Father, Yahweh, and his Son, Yahweh Shai, and the Holy Spirit, the Rakah, Kodash meaning holy. Not Jesus Christ, not sweet Jesus, not Jesus, baby Jesus, not Most High in Christ bless. If you're an Israelite and you claim to be a prophet of the Lord, you ain't gonna call on no goddamn Jesus, man. That's the so-called white man. That's the white man's God. That's the God that the so-called white man, the Edomites, which are the Edomites. When they enslaved you, they gave you their form of Christianity, which is nothing but Renaissance Christianity that was given to you slaves, which I call plantation Christianity. And here it is, 2022, year of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, turning up. And you still got niggas, I'm gonna call them niggas because they don't deserve to be called Israelites, that go to church and they follow after the slave master's God. You got to be out your fucking mind. Excuse my Latin, my classic Latin. Another thing about you Jakes in the Islam. Now, you heard the story of the situation with this girl, I believe it was Nigeria. I'm not gonna go to it. Somebody can, you do a video on it or whatever. But anyway, she was at this college in I believe it was Nigeria. Now the two biggest religions in the continent of Africa, not the country of whatever, Ethiopia, whatever, or Egypt, whatever, but the entire continent of Africa. The two top religions in Africa is number one, Islam, which is about 50, if not 55%, close to 55%. And running a close second is Christianity. How in the hell did that happen? How in the hell did that happen? Anyway, going back to the story, they had I guess a chat, whatever. I don't know if they were on Facebook or whatever, some type of chat. And it was centered around, college work. And you had a bunch of people, praising, Allah. And she criticized them for saying, this is not a religious, thing. This is a academic thing. And they said, and these, mind you, none of them were Ishmaelites, none of them were Arabs, none of them were Midianites. They basically said, look, you got to apologize for disrespecting the name of Muhammad and Allah and all that. And she said she ain't going to apologize. They caught it with her ass. And they beat her down, beat her to death. Inside joke. And if you know what movie I'm talking about, The Good. Then they burned her, all right? Now, over there in the continent of Africa, they're known, if they find out certain countries, I would say countries that Jake then took over. There was a video out on YouTube and it was up for a while. They finally took it down. They found out one community in Africa, they found out this guy was one of them, an MO, not an MO to the TB, but an MO. And so you know what his MO was. And they found out about him. It was in the middle of the street. They beat the hell out of him. He was fighting back, but then, getting hit with rocks and getting kicked in the head and a stick, popping you in the head. And he got too tired. He laid down. He put a tire around his neck. They gave him a Michelin necktie. Here I go with my corny jokes. And they set it on fire. And then there was a part of that same video, you saw a police car drive by, slowed down, kept going. Because they ain't with that stuff. Not like here in America, you know? You got a lot of moles that are part of your so-called black organizations. So that's nothing but confusion, man. But anyway, I forgot what I named it. Oh, I hope I said it. If I didn't, I'm gonna say it now. The title for this video, the topic. It's gonna be many topics, but starting with this one, the monkeypox. But the title of the video is, did Israelites sell other Israelites into slavery, and other topics? And we're gonna get into the marriage thing. There's a video that the elder of Vegas, GMS Vegas, Karatazar, had put up concerning a video that was made. And I'll show you the video if I get a chance. Concerning marriage, that you know, sex is not marriage. Well, sex is marriage, and marriage is marriage. Now, I'm gonna explain what I mean by that. If you deal with a woman, according to the ancient world, you had sex with that woman, whether you enticed the woman, raped the woman, forced the woman, whatever the case. This is among Israel. The law was given to Israel, not to other nations. I'm gonna be all over the place. You look at the woman, you say, I gotta have that woman, and you force her, you lay with her, which is mentioned in the scriptures. What happens to you? Well, the father gets involved, because if you had daughters, and then that for that matter, sons too, it was a profit to you. The more back then, the more children you had, the greater you were. You know, if you were a husbandman, you know, a farmer, you don't have to hire out workers and pay them. You had your children doing it because you were taking care of them anyway. But with your daughters, and especially if you had beautiful daughters, you know, what does a man want? A normal man. He wants a beautiful woman, not another man. He wants a beautiful woman. When I say beautiful, I'm saying the face, the body, you know, the whole kit and caboodles. I mean, just fine as hell, you know? And you were willing to pay for it. That was a financial transaction. The fathers sold their daughters, in essence. Well, in reality, whether the daughter liked it or not. I'm gonna get into the precepts. All you guys that say keep the law, it's all about the laws. Well, yeah, I'm giving you laws, the Most High's laws. A Hebrew Israelite man can have a daughter or 5 daughters, and say, okay, I want you to get with that man over there, or another Israelite man. Or the man says, I'm willing to buy your daughter so your daughter can marry my son. And this is what happened with Laban's 2 daughters, Leah and Rachel, and Jacob. He had to pay for both of those daughters. Now, they don't say how old the daughters were, but I would think that Rachel could have been as young as 11 years old, 12 years old, and he had to work. It was obvious she was breathtaking. And I would say Leah was a beautiful woman too, but not as beautiful as Rachel, at least in the eyes of Jacob or Yaquab. So he made a deal to get with Laban's daughter, And Laban said, okay, this you got to pay for it. This is how you're going to pay for it. You got to work. You got to be my slave for 7 years. And he said, ain't no thing. Ain't no big deal. I'm going to do it. And then Laban, Laban, pulled a fast one on him. And now you could have a ceremony where you get people together and they drinking and all that. Yes, of course you can do that. Or you can just get with the woman. There's some jakes that go down to City Hall and get married. They might have a couple of friends or whatever, and that's it. And then other times you have this big ceremony where you have the priest or whatever bless you, and then the marriage certificate, and then you got to deal with, and then the priest or the minister or the reverend, he said the power that is, how do you say that? The power that is given to me. He said the power that is given to me by the state of Texas or by the state of New York. So it has nothing to do with God. That marriage is a corporate meeting. It's basically a partnership. That's why when you break up, you cut everything in half. Let's say the woman stayed home, took care of the kids, and you were a big corporate guy, and you at the time of the divorce, you amassed, $100 million. That's what happened with Jeff Bezos. It was a part. When a man marries a woman, according to the state, that's nothing but a business contract. It's the same contract. If you open up a business with a friend of yours and things don't work out, you did all the work, he was sitting on his ass. When you go to court, guess what? The judge is going to say half because you're 50% owner in the company and the other guy 50%. But you can say, well, he didn't do nothing. He fucked up the business. So, hey, I'm sorry about that. Scrutinize your partners better. So the same thing with marriage. You get half. That's in this world. Right? Now going back to the law, and I'm going to give you the precepts. The law says a Hebrew Israelite man can take his daughter and say, oh, I want you to get with this man. And they make a deal as to what he's going to charge them. Okay, I'm going to charge you this amount of silver or gold for you to marry my lovely, beautiful daughter. The man agrees to it. He doesn't have to deal with that woman sexually. He can say, well, I'm going to give this woman that I purchased to my son, and I'm going to read it. Or I can deal with her myself, whether she likes it or not. Marriage back then was based upon economic reasons. Even the so-called Edomite scholars know that. So the man looks at a woman, finds out who the father is, says, I want to marry your daughter. And like I said, let's go back to Jacob, Laban, the father of Leah and Rachel and Leah. And guess what? Jacob got 2 bonuses. He got two of their handmaids. So he was getting it in. He was dealing with 4 women. And the Most High didn't get mad at that. The Most High didn't say, you must have 1 woman. And that's why we get on the IUIC so much, because they teach, oh, when you come in, you have to have 1 wife. Well, let's say you're a Hebrew Israelite from another congregation. You say, well, man, IUIC, they're growing and they're this and they're that. And I believe they got the truth, so I'm going to join with them. You got 5 wives, right? Because ABC camp said you can have 5 wives, backing it up by the law. You get with the IUIC, guess what? What are they going to tell you? Oh, you can't have 5 wives. You got to cut off 4 of them. So what do you cause those four to do? You cause them to commit adultery. They're going to get other men. They're going to become disenchanted and go back to being a Christian or a Muslim or whatever. See, the Most High is not the author of confusion. All right, what you have at the IUIC, and I hate to, all the time have to get on them, but if you go off, you got to get got. It's none of my, if a let's say Yashawamba, I'm using his name. I could have used anybody's name. Yes, let's say Yashawamba got 3 wives out there in Dallas, Texas. And ain't none of my business. It's none of my business. That's his business. If he has 30 wives, 7 women shall take hold of 1 man. That's going to happen. That's none of my business. That's your business. So anyway, let me read this. Let me hit some topics here. Monkeypox in New York City. Now, you had a case, well, it's all over Europe. It's all over Europe. Let me do this. Let me just go to monkeypox, which is a curse, which is a plague. Okay, it says monkeypox, 80 cases confirmed in 12 countries. Let's see what countries. And for you brothers that's been dealing with white women, I suggest you stay away from the white women. I suggest you stay away from any woman at this point. You don't know what diseases is out there. I'm scared to death of women right about now. You don't know what she's bringing to the table. This is from the BBC, right? Monkeypox, 80 cases confirmed in 12 countries. More than 80 cases of monkeypox have been confirmed in at least 12 countries. The World Health Organization, which, by the way, there was a video put up. There was a couple of videos put up. The last one I checked out, part of it was Elder Yashawamba. Elder Yashawamba's video on how Biden sold us out to, we're under the jurisdiction medically of the WHO, the World Health Organization, which is the WHO is not even based in the States. And it's not a governmental agency. It's a NGO, which stands for non-governmental organization. It said the World Health Organization has said another 50 suspected cases are being investigated without naming any countries, and warned that more cases are likely to be reported. Now, I was watching, I don't know if it was CNN or one news channel, they were talking about when you get it, it lasts for 2 weeks and it goes away. So it ain't such a big deal. Infections have been confirmed in 9 European countries, as well as the US, Canada, and Australia. Wait a minute. All these cases are in all the European countries, 9 European countries, as well as the US, Canada, and Australia. And I believe, I'm not sure about Australia, but I believe if not all of them, these are either NATO or EU nations, which is the beast in Revelation, or in the book of Revelation. As a monkeypox is most common in remote parts of Central and West Africa. So we can say it's an Africa-based plague. And it is a plague. It is a rare viral infection, which is usually mild and from which most people recover in a few weeks. I said that. They're making a big deal. Oh my goodness, the monkeypox, we're gonna die. No, they said you get it, It's like the flu. It's like a cold. You get it, you get bumps on you, like the measles or whatever, and then it goes away. I remember as a child, you know, among my brothers and sisters, we all had the chicken pox and the measles, and you had those bumps come on you, and you felt sick. And the doctor would say that's back when doctors used to go to house to house. It was always an older white man with black pants and a white shirt and a leather bag, a leather black bag and a stethoscope. And he would check the whole family. He'd open up your tongue, do this, do that, check your heart rate. Then for the kids, he would give them a lollipop, and then he would go to the next house. That literally happened in the 60s. And then what changed it was Nixon. He did away with that because it cost money. He did away with all that. But I remember you had doctors would actually go from house to house. It was in the city, and you had a 10-story building with 100 units in it. That man would hit every unit, including the superintendent of the building. That's back when we used to get milk, fresh milk, organic milk from the farm, and it was we had boxes. We had the silver box where you can put 4 jars, and them motherfucking jars like bowling pins. You can knock somebody, you can kill somebody with that milk bottle. And they would take the bottles, they would clean the bottles, they would put fresh milk from a cow in the bottles and put them in the boxes. You have a lock on the box. It was a different time, man. Back in the 60s, you ain't had no shootouts and the shit that's going on right now. Anyway, it says the virus does not spread easily between people, and the risk to a wider public is said to be very low. So my question is this: the closest case to the U.S. Is Canada. There was a cluster of cases in Canada. They don't give you the exact number. Then somehow you had your first case in Mass, I believe Boston. And then from there, this was not even a week ago. And then from there, it somehow jumped to New York City. And guess what? When the Crown Vicky came to the States, the first case was Seattle, Washington. And then the second case was New Rochelle, New York. And then the next case, or the third case, somehow came down to New York City, into Manhattan, then Queens and so forth. So, you know, this disease, this plague is pretty much taking almost the same course as the Crown Vicky did. So anyway, I'm not going to read too much more. I'm just looking. Okay, more people in more places trust us. I don't want that. So now let's go, come back. Okay, NYC. NYC Health Department investigating possible monkeypox case in NYC. Oh, the avian flu, it's out of the news for a while until they decide to bring it back. Possible monkeypox case reported in New York City Health Department says. Okay, I was gonna go into something else. Oh, let me go on, let me do this real quick. Then I'm going to go into the topic of, can an Israelite man sell an Israelite, his daughter, an Israelite daughter, to another Israelite man to serve slavery? And that man that buys a daughter, can he do what he wants with her, as far as having sex or handing the daughter over to, not having sex with her, then handing her, the daughter to his son, but either having that woman for himself or giving that Israelite woman to his Israelite son that he purchased from an Israelite man. And that happened with men and women. Israelite men sold Israelite men and women to other Israelites. Jacob became a servant, or Yaquah became a servant to Laban for 14 years to get his two daughters. And they had no say in the matter. Y'all been in America too goddamn long. You ain't gonna feel right unless your bride, which she been stuck 1 to 100 times. You don't know what she did, and she's walking down the motherfucking aisle with a white dress on, and they playing dun 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 dun. That's that European bullshit, man. But the priest, I'm coming back to this subject, but the priest said, by the power invested in me by the state of Texas, or by the state of California, or by the state of New York, I hereby pronounce you man and wife. There ain't no God in there. The priest or the reverend, whatever minister should say, the power invested in me by the Most High God, or the Lord. So the Most High really don't recognize that shit, because the white man told you you married, gave you a goddamn certificate with both of your names on it. That don't make you married. You can be in the act of adultery. The first man that deals with a woman according to the law, that's the husband. Even in New York years ago, you had a thing called common law wife. Remember that? That happened. Well, it was actually done away with back in 1938, and something happened in 1938. That's a whole nother subject. The laws completely got the laws were completely different. You had a what was it? New York Constitution prior to 38, and then after 38, you had a Constitution for the state of New York. And that's when there was no more common law. Even though after 38, they still looked at you as common law. Matter of fact, let me look at that. That's another subject. So you guys are busy regurgitating the crap that your master teachers teach you. You don't do any research, man. You just, whatever this man say, you regurgitate it. Gas prices to hit $7. Here comes $7 gas prices, warns oil strategist and dire outlook. So that, 185,000 pounds of bacon. Let's go to that. And as Anthony J. Hilder would say, it was planned that way. This is all planned. This is all by design. Okay, 185 pounds of Smithfield food pre-cooked bacon toppings has been recalled because there's metal shavings in it. And at the same time, you have the whole thing with the formula, the baby formula. But people are not worried, Just a series of coincidences. Yeah, these people are truly blind. Like Isaiah, what is that? Isaiah 25:7, these people are truly blind. They cast, there's a covering cast over them. Okay, what did I say? There's so many things happening. There's so many things happening. Oh, let me go to this. And I did this in the previous video. Okay, why when food is used as a weapon. Mike Wallace interview with Henry Kissinger, and this is what Henry Kissinger had to say. Let me go to all. Food as a weapon. What is this? Buttress Rome and the politics of I guess that's for Bucharest, is it? I don't know. Okay, at the convention of the World Food Convention, a conference, sorry, leaders of the underdeveloped nations hope to press for changes in the international trade relation, while U.S. Secretary of State Henry Kissinger, which I believe is a German, he was a naturalized citizen, he's not even a real citizen of the country, hoped to use the conference as a forum to link food shortages to overpopulation. Kissinger tried to put the blame for the food crisis. So remember, you had a major food crisis in the 70s on the oil producing nations, OPEC, and the energy crisis that brought about and made it clear that the U.S. no longer plans to provide most of the world's food aid. What comes to your mind? The U.S. no longer plans to provide most of the world's food aid. Let me highlight that. Let me go to the precept. Let me go to Deuteronomy 28, 47. Because thou servest not the Lord thy power with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies. Number one on the list, go to Psalms 83, Edom, the Edomites, which Yahweh shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in the want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck, literally, until he have destroyed thee. The Lord Yahweh shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle fly. It started with the Romans. This symbol was the eagle. America's symbol is also the eagle. Flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. So as you read down, that goes into Rome. Bring it up to date, it's talking about America, which is Rome all over again. Let me give you another precept, Revelation 12. Dragon. There's a reason why the dragon is red. Satan. The red dragon, Satan. Okay, it's probably serpent, serpent. Let me deal with this word serpent. The face of the serpent. Okay, I believe this is the 14th verse. Revelation 12, verse 14. And to the woman were given two wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into a place. Oh, by the way, the great eagle is not, there's not a great eagle that's going to come down, or a great eagle didn't come down and swoop up Israel. And they didn't fly to the wilderness. Okay. We know that's talking about they made a great escape during 70 AD into her place. Now, into her place is literal. There's a place that she's going to go. The wilderness is literal. The eagle is, let's say, spiritual. That she might fly. They didn't fly. They didn't actually, the wings of the eagle didn't flap his wings and flew out of Rome into Africa. Now, into the wilderness, it was an actual wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished. The place is America, actual place. We actually went to America, but we didn't. We started in Africa, mainly West Africa, but we didn't literally fly on the backs of an eagle. So there you go, vocab. That's, for lack of a better word that I can't think of, that's spiritual. That's spiritual. In other words, John probably saw a actual eagle come down and pick up the woman, but the woman represented Israel, and the eagle with two wings represented the great escape, because they took, they listened to what our Lord said. He spoke about it 40 years before it happened. When you see the abomination that maketh desolate. Matter of fact, I'm going to ask vocab, what is the abomination that maketh desolate? Into her place. Wilderness is literal. Into her place. America is literal. Where she is nourished for a time and times and half a times from the face of the serpent. She was nourished. There goes your food program. Now, what did this guy say? I got to find it again. Now I'm mad because I can't find it. Anyway, you can go to Hosea 1 and 10 on down. But it says that she was nourished for a time and times and a half a time from the face of the serpent. Matter of fact, you know what I'm gonna do? Let me look up the word wilderness. Let me look up the word wilderness. And if you really understand the scriptures, the prophecies mainly, you know me, I'm always going into the prophecies, because the prophecies are popping off like hot buttered popcorn. Well, popcorn before you put butter on it. You can see, if you understand the scriptures, you know we out of here could be the next, inside of the next year, next year and a half. I know for sure we ain't going to go another 40 years, 50 years, 100 years. Okay, it says solitary, lonely, desolate, uninhabited, use of places, desert, wilderness. lonely region. Now I got to get into um, the west coast of Nigeria. I don't know if it's a barren place. You got to go into that history, and they're not going to give you the history. Esau's not going to say, "Well, these people that are in the west coast of Africa, they came from Israel from escaping the onslaught of Vespasian and Titus, his son." They're not going to tell you all that. So I have to do more research. If I can find it, I'll do a video on it. And I believe that for them to be in West Africa, most of West Africa had to be in, desolate, not inhabited by anybody, uninhabited, if that's a word. But we know that that's Africa, right? And to a place. The place is America. Tell you that in Hosea. Matter of fact, let me go to that. Hosea. For you newer cats. Hosea 1. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but great chapter. You know what? Let me start from you really got to read the whole. You really got to read the whole chapter, but let's start from 6. No, let's start from 7. But I will have mercy upon the house of Judah. Let's start at 6. Actually, let's start at 5. And it shall come to pass at that day that I will break the bow of Israel in the valley of Jezreel. Jezreel meaning Yazari Allah, he seed of God, which is another name for Israel. And she conceived again and bare a daughter. And the Most High said unto him, call her name Laura Hama, for I will no more have mercy upon the house of Israel, but I will utterly take them away. So Lo Rohama means no, lo meaning no mercy. And I will take them away. Take them away in what manner? Cause the Assyrians to take them into captivity. And then they wound up in the Americas. But I will have mercy upon the house of Yahweh and will save them by the Yahweh, their power, and will not save them by bow, nor by sword, nor by battle, by horses, nor by horsemen. Meaning the Most High is going to use angels. And this happened. If you go into the past history, somebody asked me a question on it and I gave them the answer where the angels got involved. There was a scenario with David and his men, and the angel of the Lord, said, when you hear the sound in the mulberry trees, I believe, then don't fight. And there were angels that were on top of the mulberry trees, and they came down and they destroyed the enemy. And I believe that was the Philistines, if I'm not mistaken, that was their number one enemy. So there were certain times where the Most High caused the angels to intervene. So that's what that means. He said, I will not save them by bow, nor by sword, nor by battle, by horses, nor by horsemen. And that's how the Most High is going to save us this time. He's not going to save us by bow, nor by sword, nor by battle. We're not going to get into physical battle. It's going to be the Yahweh Shai and the angels. Now, when she had weaned La Ruhama, she conceived and bare a son. Then said the Most High, call his name Lo Mi, which in the Hebrew is Am La Aimya, which means not people or not my people, not my people. 9th verse again. Then said the Most High, call his name Lo Ami, for ye are not my people, and I will not be your power. So if the Most High cut off Israel, didn't they have to forget that they were Israel? There was the connection was they forgot that they were Israel. The Most High took the name from them because previously, when we left out of Egypt into the wilderness and into these different nations, we kept going into captivity for breaking the laws. Then we would cry to the Lord, call on the name of Yahweh, and Yahweh would send the deliverer, right? So the Most High said, well, I'm going to get you this time. I'm going to make you forget that you're Israelites. And you're going to forget the name. You're going to not, you're not going to keep the high holy days and so forth and so on. So was there a time that we forgot? You damn right. And when did that happen? Mainly in slavery. When we came over here and forced into slavery, what did the slave master do? He said, nope, you don't speak Hebrew no more. You speak English. And that your name is not Yahwadah or Yahweh. We're gonna give you good Christian names. That's why they took the mother and sold it in the one plantation, took the father and sold them in another plantation, took the children and sold them to another plantation. So the first group of slaves that came over here, they knew that they were Israelites. They were speaking Hebrew. They were wearing Hebrew Israelite garments. As a matter of fact, the Esau was calling them Hebos for sale. Hebos for sale. I can prove that. Why would they call them Hebos? They were calling them Negroes because they came from a place called Negro land in Africa. But I'm gonna show you that they were being called Hebos. Let me let it come up. I got all these tabs open. I got to kill all these tabs. Okay, Hebos. Hebos. Hebos for sale. Let's see what comes up. Let's see what comes up. Okay, Hebos for sale. Let's try this. Did you mean Hebos for sale? Let's go to images. Here it goes. To be sold on board the ship, whatever. Fine Hebos. So they called them at one time, they called them Hebos. You call a Puerto Rican or Dominican that's like a hillbilly, you call them, what is it? Hibaro. Here it is again. To be sold on board the ship, whatever. I can't see that. It says something to the effect of choice, healthy, about 159 or 50, fine, healthy, fine something, fine Hebos to be sold on, and it says right here, Negroes. So the earliest signs were Hebos. Oh, this is better. To be sold on board the ship. I can hardly see that on Thursday, the 6th of May next at, I believe that's Hadley Ferry. A choice cargo of about 150 fine hebos just arrived from the Windward and Rice, whatever. And they said that they made sure they were healthy because they didn't suffer smallpox. This is Deuteronomy 28 and 68. The truth is overwhelming. And any of you Israelites out there that come against this, the Most High is going to make you take the charagma, and he's going to destroy you without mercy. Let me click on this. Oh my goodness. And I went through this before. Yes, they brought us from Africa, but what they didn't tell us was, this is West Africa. What is it? Judah. And Wida. That's a different name as saying Judah. You had a king named King, what is it, Hafun, that he was, and you had Edomites, you had Portuguese, and I believe you had the French, and they witnessed the coronation of King Hafun. He was the king of Judah. There's in Africa. Why would Africa, the continent of Africa, you have a place called Judah, Juda? And when you open, it says we migrated there from Israel. So let me come back to the food program. Okay, it says the U.S., and this was in the 70s, early 70s, the U.S. no longer plans to provide most of the world's food aid. The undeveloped nations did not accept this. They still blame, let me highlight this because it's hard to see. They still blame the crisis on the U.S. And people are going to realize that there's something going on behind the scenes, which they say controls more food than the fuel the oil producing nations control. So it was this guy that Kissinger that laid blame on the OPEC nations, which is the oil producing exporting countries, OPEC. The U.S. has historically used food as a tool for foreign policy, meaning if you don't do what we tell you to do, we're going to bring sanctions against you. That shows you that they're the devil. And with the increasing dependency of the U.S. on the raw supplies of the undeveloped world, there is growing talk of using food to blackmail nations into adopting population control programs. Meaning you got to, we got to set up clinics to abort your children. We got to cut down the population. One such Georgia Guidestones maintain humanity to no more than 500. Was it 500 million? I believe it is, which is 500 million. There's about 9 billion people on the earth. So their plan is to cut off billions of people. One such proposal came in Rome by former U.S. government official Richard Gardner. It says, he said one such proposal came in Rome by former, and this is Rome because this is Rome all over again. Let me highlight this. Richard, bear me for a minute. Richard Gardner, who suggested a global survival pact under which rich nations would conserve food, energy, and raw materials in return for commitment by third world nations to change their suicidal demographic, agricultural, and environmental practices. Another proposal was made by Congressman Jerry Litton, who said he would introduce legislation banning food aid to any country with above average population growth. If there's too many people in the country, we ain't giving you no food, so y'all can starve to death. This is what Esau, this is Esau. This is how Esau rolls, and which was not doing anything to reduce it, meaning kill off their babies, kill off the old people, kill off the babies by abortion. This is how this man thinks, but then he'll turn around and say he's a God-fearing nation. So now let's go into the law of marriage. Bear with me for a minute. And then I'm gonna close. Where is that? Exodus. Exodus 21. You guys that claim you got to keep the law, you don't even know the law. When have you ever taught the law? Let me see here. Okay, let's start from the top. Now these are the judgments which thou shalt set before them. If thou by an Hebrew, he's talking to the Israelites in the wilderness. Where did they receive the laws in the wilderness? Before they went to the land of Israel. It says, if thou buy an Hebrew servant, 6 years he shall serve, and in the 7th he shall go out free for nothing. So a Hebrew can sell another Hebrew into slavery, but they are released in the 7th year, but they get nothing. If he came in by himself, he shall go out by himself. If he were married, then his wife shall go out with him. If his master have given him a wife, and she have borne him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her master's. So if this guy wants to leave, he has to leave his wife and he has to leave his children. So most of the time you would say, I love my master, I'm going to stay with him forever. And he shall go out by himself. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to leave your children behind and your wife behind. Like you got these guys saying, well, how can the Reubenites, the Seminoles, be our people? They enslaved blacks, Judites. Well, guess what? There's a law on slavery. It says, and if the servant shall plainly say, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go out free. Then it goes on to say about the oil. Now, the charagma is nothing but an oil, a oil. But it's going to be put in your right hand, left hand, butt cheek, or forehead. That's a digital oil, because you have to worship the beast and worship the image, and then take the charagma, which is not going to be a forced thing. Just like they couldn't force the jump shot on you, they can't force this on you, because you have to do it willingly. And the majority of our people are going to willingly take it. They're going to willingly take it. And if a man sells his daughter to be a maid servant, this is talking about Israel. These are people in the wilderness, the Israelites in the wilderness. She shall not go out as The manservants do. In other words, she's there forever. Once an Israelite man sells his daughter to another Israelite man, that's it. And he can do whatever he wants with her. He can say, okay, I have a son. You're going to deal with my son, whether she likes it or not. Or I like the way she looks. She's going to be my wife, whether she likes it or not. She has no say in the matter. I'm talking about in the ancient, this is what happened in the ancient world. You guys that claim you got to keep the law. Well, guess what? This is a law. There's a law. If she please not her master, now what does that mean? If he gets it in with her and he's no longer satisfied with her, who have betrothed her by his decision, not hers, she didn't have no say in the matter. Her betrothed her to himself. In other words, I'm engaging you to me. I'm making you my wife. Then shall he let her be redeemed, bought back, to sell her unto a strange nation. Now that's an Israelite, that's a foreigner. He shall have no power, seeing he have dealt deceitfully with her. It says, let me read on. And if he have betrothed her unto his son, he shall deal with her after the manner of daughters. In other words, she actually becomes your daughter-in-law. She's no longer a slave. So the best thing for Hebrew Israelite women that was sold to another Hebrew Israelite by a Hebrew Israelite man, the best thing for her, the best outcome for her is if the man gives that woman to his son. So she becomes daughter status. She's no longer a slave. It says 10th verse. If he take another wife, her food, her remnant, and her duty of marriage, which you got to sex her up, shall he not diminish? And if he do not these three unto her, then shall she go out free without money. So now let me see. Let's go to 20. Let's go to 22. 22. It was different. You know, you guys are used to being in America. So you have your morals based upon what you read out of the scriptures, and based on the morals, you know, you come into a lot of money, you're going to buy your mama a house, the hell with your father. Well, according to the law, the first one to get the house is the father. Okay, let's see here. Okay, you got a lot of guys that, and I'm gonna get ready to close. You got a lot of Israelites out there that'll say, oh, by the way, going back to the marriage thing, you don't have to have a marriage ceremony for a woman to be your wife. Once you deal with her, if you force yourself on her, you have to deal with the father. You have to give him, quoting Deuteronomy 22, you have to give him 50 shekels of silver, then she becomes your wife. They don't say, okay, now you gave me the 50, let's have a certain, no. You already popped her, man. You already popped her. Now, if you deal with a woman and pop her and she's not engaged and another man lies with her, guess what? You have the right to have that man put to death, because that's adultery, because another man dealt with her before you. It says sundry laws, Exodus 22, verse 16. And if a man entice, I'm going to say this again. You deal with a woman, you meet a woman, you pop her, whether you let me say this, man. I got engaged one time in my life, and I went to the father. I brought him to the side. I didn't even go to the mother. I went to the father, and I said, I want to marry your daughter, this, that, and the third, and I'm asking for your blessings. And he had a big smile on his face because it was like ancient, you know. He said, I like this boy. And he said, yes, you may marry my daughter. But guess what? We were getting it in. We were getting it in for years, you know? So, so we were already married. Like I remember one time she said, we were in the bed and she said, I said, you're my wife. No, we ain't married. We ain't married. I said, what? I said, fuck, we married. I'm popping you, so we're married. And she shut the hell up. Getting all caught up in your emotions, man. Like Nate, don't be like Bishop Nathaniel. Don't get caught up in your emotions. Don't become delusional. Don't become a megalomaniac. Talking about we learned the 12 tribe breakdown sign from him. And there was a point when he first got on YouTube, he didn't even have the sign out there. We used to curse the guy out and say, "What? Where's the sign? Where's the sign? Where's the sign?" Guess what? He brings a sign out. I don't know if he still does that, but he's a great mimicker. He's a great conveyor of truth that he got from somebody else and pretends that he got it on his own. That's somewhere in Corinthians. You can put it up in the comment section. It says 16 verse, Exodus 22 verse 16. Like I said, they'll go to Deuteronomy 22, the part where it says, no, he rapped to her, he enticed her. No, this is the scripture where it says he enticed her. And if 16 verse, and if a man entice a maid that is a virgin, that is not betrothed, engaged, and lie with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife. Now, there's many a times where I got with women and I enticed them. They didn't want to give it to me, right yet. And I enticed them. I told them things that made them submit, They like the song, what's her name? Shaka Khan, right? There's a lyric. There's ain't nobody, right? And there's the part of the song, the lyrics is, first you put, if I remember, first you put your arms around me, then you put your charms around me. Loves, I forget all the lyrics, but there's one part where she said, I can't resist this sweet, sweet surrender. She said, sweet surrender. Let me look it up. So I don't botch it up. That's what it means by entice. So let me come back to this. Sweet. How do you spell surrender? Surrender. Did I spell it right? I know I didn't spell it right, but let's see. Okay, surrender. Okay, surrender. I believe it's 2 R's. Sweet surrender. What is it? Chaka Khan. Chaka Khan. Probably spelled that wrong. Let's see what happens. Chaka Khan. Sweet surrender. Damn. Damn, man. Chaka Khan. Okay, ain't nobody. Let me do it this way. Lose yourself to the groove. Chaka Khan songs. Bear with me for a minute. Chaka Khan songs. Ain't nobody. Okay? Ain't nobody. Ain't nobody lyrics. Lyrics. But I'm almost there. Bear with me for a minute. Um, okay, here it is. Here it is. At first, you put your arms around me, then you put your charms around me. I can't resist this sweet surrender. Oh, my nights are warm and tender. We stare into each other's eyes, and what we see is no surprise. Got a feeling most would treasure, and I love this part. She goes high octave on this one. And a love so deep we cannot measure. So what is she saying right here? For you dummies out there, the man enticed her. Let's read part of it again. At first, you put your arms around me. Then you put your charms around me. Apostle Gabar cracking up right about now, right? Then you put your charms around me. Is he talking about charms? Like, did he take out a box of Lucky Charms and throw it at her ass? No. He started sweet talking the girl, man. He started giving her empty promises. Well, I'm gonna do this for you, and we're gonna do that. We're gonna have children, and get you a big house, and man, you smelling good. You looking good, man. We all know this, man. We're all adults up in here, right? It says at first you put your arms around me, physically putting your arms around somebody, and she's not, pushing you off. Then you put your charms around me. Then you start enticing me. I can't resist. She said, I can't stop. I can't resist this sweet surrender. So she said, I'm just going to give it up. I told myself, I told my girlfriends, I was going to wait about 2 months before I give him some. But he drove, he took me to this restaurant, and, he took me to the play, and, I had to just give in. That's what that means for you dumbasses out there, you non-scholarly Negroes. See, we cover everything. Everything's in the scriptures, man. It says, let me read that again. So this is the difference between Exodus 22 and Deuteronomy 22. And if a man entice a maid, then you put first you put your arms around me, then you put your charms around me. I cannot resist this sweet surrender. She gave it up. And if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed or engaged and lie with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife. The father's not saying, okay, give me X amount of silver and we're going to have a ceremony. No, you don't need a ceremony. The ceremony already took place when you popped her. Okay? It says, if a father utterly refused, he would be a stupid father, because nobody wants to get with a woman that's in Israel that's already been taken. That's the whole dowry thing. And a father's basically turning him into a harlot. It says, if her father utterly refused to give her unto him, he shall pay money according to the dowry of virgins, which you would be stupid to do that, because she's considered damaged goods. And that's all we got is damaged goods. That's the only game the Most High left us to play. Damaged good. Unless you get a girl as 11, 12 years old. That's why they got them young in the ancient world. But because you simps in this society, your morals are based, your standards is based on what you grew up with in America, eating Captain Crunch and Lucky Charms and Count Chocolate cereal and drinking fucking Kool-Aid. That should fuck your brain up, man. You lost half of your brain cells. Your mama feeding you pork chops. And then when you're 25, you realize, oh, I shouldn't be eating pork, but you got all that pork in your system, Mark. You got to reset your body. Niggas don't even know that. Your pineal gland is calcified. That's why certain jakes can't get it. Their pineal gland is calcified. That's why you don't have dreams, you don't see visions, you don't see shit. The Most High gave the prophets these visions through their what? Through one part is their pineal gland. Anyway, with that, I'm gonna say shalom.